Hello you guys, so I have just finished all of the 3 books in 50 Shades trilogy, and of course that took me a little bit longer than I expected, and I am looking for a change of pace, so I decided I want to read my first purely science fiction book, which will be Hail Mary. I have wanted to read Hail Mary for a while now, but now that the movie is coming out in about 4 months, I think it's finally time to commit to it. I'm excited to see what this book has in store for me and how a purely science fiction book differs from fantasy with sci-fi elements, and see if I like science fiction. I have this book on audiobook, so I will start by reading it on audiobook and doing some chores around the house. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Unfortunately, I do not have this book in a physical form because ever since the movie got announced, the books have started to get the movie covers, and I do not want that on my shelf. So I am reading it on my Kindle and of course on my audiobook. But we start off this book with a mystery. Our main character is waking up from a coma in a sort of laboratory slash hospital room, not remembering who he is, where he is, and how he found himself there. He is being taken care of by a robotic arm that wants to ascertain his consciousness levels, asking him very specific questions and also feeding him. We go on a little journey to find out who he is and what he is doing here, and we retrospectively get snippets of his memories while he's exploring this place he's in, and we find out that he has specific scientific knowledge, very deep knowledge of science and the space. I think it's very entertaining, so let's go back to reading. We soon find out that all of humanity is at risk because the Earth is nearing extinction. Our main character is in space by himself with the nearest human being light years away. Okay, and he has to figure out how to help solve this mystery and how to prevent this threat from happening. Obviously, it is filled with scientific descriptions, scientific ideas, so it does at points feel like a textbook, but I personally really like it, and I have to say I am really liking the narration style of our main character. He has a self-critical humor type of inner monologue, which is very entertaining, and of course it's really hard to talk about it without spoiling things, because once you find out what's happening, that's kind of taking away the mystery aspect. So of course I don't want to say too much, but I do have to say, listening to the audiobook, I think it's taking this experience to another level because the narration is really good. I now have about 20% left of the book, around 100 pages if my calculations are correct. But I have some bananas that are really overripe. So I decided I want to make banana bread, and I thought, you know what better time to make banana bread than listening to an audiobook. So let's put the audiobook on and let's make some banana bread. That's crazy. That's crazy, what the hell? I have to be honest, this book surprised me in a lot of different ways. First of all, I was not expecting to cry at all. I wasn't expecting this book to take me on such an emotional journey. I was just not really anticipating that from a science fiction book. Secondly, I think this book is so much more lighthearted than I thought it was going to be, because I really was expecting this to be like a regular science fiction book, which I think most of them have a more serious undertone and more of a serious narration. And even though this still had a serious undertone and the serious problem and issue being Earth might not exist anymore, we had such a humorous narration, and I think that made a world of difference to me. Though I do think that this writing style might not be for everyone. It's not concentrated on prose or really complicated sentence structures, but I really liked it because it seemed real. It seemed like a real human was talking to me and narrating his life that is in space and what he had to do to survive, basically. I think this book is so much more than just a book about space or just a science fiction book. This is a book about connection, sacrifice, and really what your worldview is. I don't know how else to explain it without spoiling it too much. It was just so much more. The retrospective aspect of this book also continues throughout the book, which I think helps to keep that momentum going. There is a lot that is hinging on those memories, and I think that's how the audience is really captivated throughout this book, because obviously if we only had the current time frame, it could get a little bit monotonous in a way, but I do think because we kept that retrospective, it really helped the pacing of this book. I used to be obsessed with space when I was younger, so of course for me the scientific talk was really fascinating. Even though I don't think this book is particularly hard to understand, we do have a lot of scientific ideas. Like I said before, we have theories, we have hypotheses, we have a lot of math. We do have a lot of calculations we go through. So I would say having some basic knowledge of maths, physics, and chemistry definitely enhances your reading experience, because obviously you have more knowledge what is going on. And I do have to say, listening to the audiobook while reading really elevated my reading experience. Not only was I able to absorb the information in two different ways, which allowed me to understand the information easier and better, but the narrator was absolutely amazing. He was able to portray the main character's emotions and feelings so well. He sped up his speaking voice when the character was freaking out, and then he slowed down his narration when our character was confused or was thinking things over. This definitely added a lot. This book was just so amazing, and I am giving it 4.5 stars. This did really interest me in The Martian. I wasn't ever really that interested in reading it because I'm not used to reading science fiction, and obviously I didn't know if I was even going to like that genre. I'm now very interested because this is really awesome. I have no words left. There wasn't much I didn't like, but of course I don't have that much knowledge about science stuff. So yes, some of the passages were a bit harder to understand. I did have to reread a couple of paragraphs when we were explaining how space works, and I still don't understand some of things because I'm not a space engineer or an astronaut. So I still kind of don't understand how space-time dilation works. That is still confusing. So yeah, but this was an incredible experience and I definitely recommend this book. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!